If you have to roll a 2+ to charge, don't roll a 1.
Hey guys, welcome to another one of my Conquest character dueling videos. Today we'll be dealing with Dweg. Let's hop right into it, shall we? Oh yeah, before we do so though, don't forget to join my Patreon. It is thanks to people who join my Patreon that make videos like this possible. The first character we're going to look at is the Tempered Steel Shaper. Looking at his stats, a clash of 2, 4 defense, and evasion of 0, 5 wounds. He is respectable as a caster that can duel. The issue is that every other character in the Dweg roster is much better at dueling than the Tempered Steel Shaper. Because remember, characters all typically have these same upgrades. Okay? So a dedicated fighter like the Ardent Caraway or the Hold Ray has the same upgrades and relics as a caster. The issue is that a caster retinue typically has only arcane options available. They don't have the tactic options, which allows you to auto-pass morale tests, etc., etc. And their combat options are also limited. When I have the different armies fighting each other for dueling, it is possible that the Tempered Steel Shaper and the Tempered Sorcerer will be able to beat other casters when they duel. But when it comes to dueling within the Dwegholm's own army, basically the Tempered Steel Shaper fighting the Tempered Sorcerer and the Ardent Caraway, etc., etc., the casters just don't hold a candle. And that's true for the Steel Shaper and the Sorcerer. Now, keep in mind that I am going to allow the elemental tokens to be used up to, I'd say, 3 elemental tokens to be used in duels. What does that mean for Dweg duelers fighting other Dweg duelers? Nothing really. They kind of cancel each other out. That will matter once the Dweg duelers fight other faction duelers like Spire's duelers and Nord duelers. But for now, the elemental tokens don't have much of an effect. Also, the supremacy abilities, as far as I've read and can tell, none of them matter in duels. As far as regiments that the characters can join for bonuses, I don't see many that really help out the Steel Shaper or the Tempered Sorcerers. They can hang out with a lot of these regiments, but there's no bonuses they really give to help out. And of course, once you're mounted on a Drake or some other kind of Cav regiment or model, those are not part of my dueling equation since mounted characters can just refuse duels anyway. So what does that mean for the Tempered Steel Shaper and the Tempered Sorcerer? As far as dueling is concerned, we're going to go ahead and grab these little homies and put them in the D tier. You just don't duel with them at all, period. Which leaves us with only 2 options, the Ardent Caraway and the Hold Ray. Looking at the stats between the Ardent Caraway and the Hold Ray, they're very close. Now, these characters have upgrades, but let me take 2 new war bands fresh without any upgrades. You see how their points are very close to each other? The Hold Ray has +1 on wounds, resolve, and defense, and clash. So, even though the Hold Ray is only 10 points more, as far as a dueling character is concerned, the Hold Ray is just statistically better than the Ardent Caraway. So then you must ask, well, what regiments can they join to give them bonuses to fighting? Unfortunately, the Ardent Caraway does not have any regiments that he can join that flat out gives him any dueling bonuses. So the Ardent Caraway, unfortunately, falls flat when dealing with the Hold Ray. So I know what some of you may be asking. But Diego, I'm here for the builds, the duels. If you build the Ardent Caraway either defensively with a tactical 1 and long lineage, giving him the Arena Champion armor, versus the offensive Ardent Caraway, which has all combats, Baptized in Combat, and Dragonblood. The issue is that the offensive Ardent Caraway comes with Quicksilver Strike, and the defensive Ardent Caraway does not. And because of their wounds are a 5, believe it or not, a clashing 4, cleaving 3, quick striking Ardent Caraway absolutely obliterates the defensive Caraway. So the Ardent Caraway that's offensive is the better choice. So we're going to take the Ardent Caraway and give him a B. So we'll go into the Hold Ray. And this is where things get a little muddy, a little interesting. If you put the Hold Ray in Dragon Slayers, the Dragon Slayers have Hardened 2. And Hardened 2, believe it or not, rolls over onto the Hold Ray, because Hard Next does not mention stands, it just mentions regiments. So if you look at, let's say, Fiend Hunter, it mentions stands with this special rule, right? But the Harden 2 does not, which means the Hold Ray will get the benefit of Harden 2. So you don't really have to build any kind of defensive ability into the Hold Ray when using Dragon Slayers. So I just go all out with the Combat, Baptized in Combat. I go all out with the Combat 3 Retinue, and then the Mastery, Baptized in Combat, which basically gives him Quicksilver, and Drag Brood, which gives him a Cleave 3. Now, Cleave 3 is great in these fights because dueling dwarfs don't really have any evasion to speak of. So this is the offensive hold. Reg is pretty strong. Cleave 5, a 6 attacks. Remember, when he's in a regiment, as all duelists are, their resolve is actually 1 better. So his resolve would be a 6 in a duel if all 3 stands of the Dragon Slayers are alive. So the whole race seems to be one of the best duelers in the game. I'll find out if that is statistically true later on. But for now, the offensive hold ray is pretty nasty. But can the offensive hold ray beat the defensive hold ray? Now, the defensive hold ray comes with Tactical 1 for re-rolling resolves with Indomitable. Treating 1 resolve as a success, which is always good. And being that he'll have a resolve of 6 in most duels, he just auto-passes resolves in a sense. I give him Long Lineage and Tactical 2, so he can get 2 upgrades. He's like a bootleg. I give him Steel Enhancements, which gives him the Harden 3 special rule. The Harden 3 as a defensive hold ray is already going to beat the offensive hold ray's Cleave 3, right? Just deletes it. Perfectly Balanced, which gives the hold ray a +1 to his attacks and gives him the ability to remove Quicksilver strikes from opposing duelists. So he will remove the Quicksilver strike from the offensive hold ray. Look at that, right? And Flame Flickers, which does nothing in these duels. I couldn't find another item which is worth giving. But Flame Flickers lets you ignore evasion from enemy characters in duels, which will be good for cross-faction fighting. I thought Flame Flickers was a really good all-purpose dueling item to take. Remember, I don't take builds to directly beat another character directly, specifically. I take generalist builds that work for as many duels as possible. So the Flame Flickers is a really good option for that. And then the defensive hold ray is hanging out with Hold Thanes because the Hold Thanes have the Bastion 1 draw event through their Herald of Stone. So the Hold Thanes would activate first, giving the hold ray Bastion 1. So when the hold ray fights, the hold ray is actually defense 5. So not only does he ignore the offensive hold ray's Cleave, but he's also rolling on defensive 5. Now, you may be thinking, whoa, that's pretty awesome. Shouldn't the defensive hold ray always beat the offensive hold ray? Statistically, no, because of their clash. You see how the defensive hold ray has a clash of 4, and the offensive hold ray has a clash of 5, meaning the offensive hold ray with the 6 attacks is statistically always going to have 6 hits against the defensive hold ray, and the defensive hold ray will sometimes have 4, maybe 5 hits on the offensive hold ray. And that means, believe it or not, they both actually on average deal 1 wound to each other after all resolve checks are done. So they are equal. When it comes to dueling characters within the Dwegholm, a defensive and offensive hold ray are pretty much the same statistically, and they will both beat the other characters within the faction. Now, which one will do best once I do inter-faction fighting, I don't know. We will find that out together, but it is a clear choice. It's not even close. The hold ray is an S-tier duelist. Let me know what your opinions are about Dweg duelers in the comment section down below. I have one more faction to do, my beloved Nords, and afterwards we'll be having a little competition, seeing which duelists are the best in Conquest. Also, don't forget to join my Patreon so I can make more videos more often. Let me know in Patreon what video topics you'd like to see me do next. Thank you all for hanging out, and remember, when you need a 2+ to duel, don't roll anything but a Dweg, because Dwegs are pretty good duelists.